This is Nerd Culture. Final Fantasy VII Revelation. The grand finale of the remake trilogy just dropped a Gamescom trailer stuffed with everything a fan could dream of. Giant weapons, Sephiroth's meteor, Vincent and Cid finally playable, and yet it carefully avoided the one thing the entire trilogy has been building toward, whether Aerith lives or dies again. By the end of this, I'll show you why that silence has fans terrified. Square is about to fumble the single most important decision in this whole story. So let's get into it. Because this isn't a normal sequel question. For almost 30 years, one moment has defined Final Fantasy VII, and this remake trilogy has spent 2 entire games quietly asking whether it has to happen at all. So as we walk into the last chapter, everything comes down to one nervous question. Do they dare change it, or don't they? First, the setup, because the structure here matters more than usual. Revelation is the third and final piece of a puzzle. Square Enix split the story of Final Fantasy VII across 3 massive games: Remake, then Rebirth, and now Revelation. But this wasn't a straight retelling. From the very first game, the remake introduced the idea that destiny itself was in play, that the events fans knew by heart might not be locked anymore. It dangled the possibility over and over that this version of the story could break from the 1997 original. That single thread is what makes this finale so tense. And on the surface, the Gamescom trailer was a victory lap. Rufus Shinra rallying what's left of Midgar, the colossal weapons, Ruby, Emerald, and Ultimate waking up, Sephiroth calling down Meteor, the submarine and the Highwind airship returning for one last ride, with Vincent Valentine and Cid Highwind finally playable. For longtime fans, it was pure adrenaline. Check the boxes and it's a near perfect tease. 3 legendary weapons to fight, 2 beloved characters, Vincent and Cid, finally in your party. A confirmed spring 2027 launch across every major platform. Square gave the fans almost everything on the wish list. Almost. Because for all that spectacle, the trailer stayed dead silent on the only beat that actually keeps fans up at night. In the original Final Fantasy VII, Aerith is killed by Sephiroth. It's arguably the most famous death in video game history, the scene that taught a whole generation that a game could break your heart. And the remake trilogy has spent 2 games teasing, hinting, and blurring the timeline around that exact moment, refusing to confirm whether it still stands. Revelation is where the bill comes due, and the trailer looked everywhere except there. 1997. That's how long this single moment has lived in players' heads. That's the weight Square is carrying into one final creative decision. And there is no version of that decision that makes everyone happy. Here's the trap, and it's a genuinely brutal one. Whatever Square chooses, they anger half the people who love this game. Save her, and you risk gutting the emotional core of the entire story. The death is why Final Fantasy VII hit so hard. Undo it, and some fans will feel the trilogy cheated them out of the very thing that made it matter. But let her die again, and a different half of the fandom throws up their hands. Because why spend 2 whole games building this elaborate machinery about changing fate if the ending just snaps back to exactly what we already knew? It's a lose-lose dressed up as a choice. Line up the 2 camps and there's no clean winner anywhere on the board. Every upside comes chained to a downside. This is the single hardest needle any studio has had to thread in modern gaming, and Square has to thread it in front of the most passionate fan base it has. And here's what turns the anxiety up to 11. The subtitle is Revelation. That word is a promise that something gets revealed, something changes. The director has signaled the ending won't simply be a copy of the original, so fans aren't debating whether the story shifts. They know it will. They're terrified about how. A revelation can be transcendent. It can also ruin the thing you love, which is why the most popular hope isn't even one of the 2 obvious answers. A huge chunk of fans are praying for a third path. Not simply alive, not simply gone, but something in between, tangled up in the live stream, a bittersweet ending that honors the death while softening the loss. It's the have it both ways dream, and it's exactly the kind of ambitious swing that can either become legendary or collapse under its own cleverness. So the real drama of Revelation isn't the weapons, or the airship, or even Sephiroth. It's whether Square Enix can land a plane that's been circling for 30 years on a runway where half the crowd wants it one way and half wants the other. My honest read? There is no ending that satisfies everyone, and Square knows it. The smart money is on that bittersweet third path. threading the emotion of the original through a door the remake left open. But whatever they choose, spring 2027 is going to detonate a discourse bomb the size of the meteor in that trailer. It's the most anticipated and most dangerous ending in modern gaming. And that trailer just told us it's almost here. So if this cracked the scene wide open for you, do me a favor and tap subscribe. You'd be one of the very first, and there's a whole lot more nerd culture on the way.